Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Ask Rob and Rob. Now, we've not forgotten about the coronavirus. It clearly is happening. But we're putting out a lot of content around that subject. But in the meantime, we've been getting in lots of normal property questions. So we thought, you know what? Why not have a little break? Let's talk about things that are normal about property for a change. So this week we've got 2 questions in that have nothing to do with the coronavirus, but hopefully you're going to learn a lot from. So if you do have your own questions, then please get them in. You can ask normal questions like these, or you can ask coronavirus related questions. Wherever you want, the system for doing it is still the same.
Yeah, won't take long because it's dead easy. Just give us a call on 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or you can head on over to propertyhub.net/ask. Whichever method you choose, you can just leave us a voicemail, sit back patiently and wait for an answer to come your way, just like Richard is about to have right now.
Gents, hi, my name's Richard. I listened to and watched your hotspots preview for 2020. Leeds, Liverpool, Nottingham, Manchester, all of these places. I wanted to know, do you favour city centre apartments, or are you looking for terrace houses, etc., just outside of those central locations? Yeah, any help on that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Hey Richard, thank you for your question. And I'm glad that the hotspots that we've mentioned in 2020 have got your attention. Now, do we prefer houses or apartments? We don't prefer either. Although some property types will be better than others when you choose your area. In city centres, typically, you are going to go for an apartment. And there are lots of reasons for that. That's what most people will choose to live in. That's what most of the stock of most city centres is made up of. Now, you can try and be a bit different. You can look to get a 3-bed apartment or a 1-bed apartment and try and mix it up that way so you stand out. Or you can look for a house. Now, you've in particular mentioned a terraced house. And in city centres, there are not going to be many terraced houses. However, you still may find some housing stock in a city centre, although a lot less of it. And therefore, it can be something that is different. But be wary. The reason why people like apartments is that they tend to be in really good condition and they have that modern feel to them, which is what most people in city centres will be looking for. If you are looking for a terrace, then the condition you buy it in might not be at that level. And the specification that people would expect in a city centre, again, might not be at that level. So that's not a reason not to do it, but it's a reason to be aware that you will need to refurb that property to bring it up to city centre standard if you want to attract the right tenants and the right rental levels in that area. So it's not a hard and fast rule that you must do a certain property type, but you just need to be aware of your end market, who you're trying to appeal to, and then make your decisions based on that.
So there's your answer, Richard. Let's see if we can repeat that for Steve.
Yeah, hi Rob and Rob. Fantastic podcast. Been listening to you for around about 3 or 4 years. My name's Steve, and I've been investing off and on now for about 15 years, not always successfully. I'm just currently wanting to get into some sourcing for clients and also for myself to build up on my portfolio. I've identified a city that I want to invest in, but what I'm finding quite difficult and time consuming is how to identify a town within that city. I'm doing the usual stuff, that is looking at the prices of the property and also looking at the rental prices and working out the yields, and I'm looking for sort of 7% and above. But what I'm struggling on is the time. It's very time consuming, and also I'd like to know if there's any other due diligence I should be doing and any other tips and tricks. Hopefully you help me out with this, as I'm really looking forward to your future podcasts you're going to be bringing out, and keep up the great work.
Steve, well, the good news is that there's nothing that you're particularly missing. The bad news is that's because it's meant to be difficult and time consuming. That's why the opportunity to source for other investors is there. If it was easy, they'd just do it themselves. But because it's difficult and it takes a lot of time, some people will be willing to pay you to do it for them. What I would say is that what you're looking for in terms of like 7% plus yields, that's fine, but that's pretty broad. It's one way of counting areas of a city in or out, but there are areas that would tick that box that are all very different from each other. So there might be one area that has very low prices, decent yields and perhaps a more challenging or specialist tenant demographic. Another one that works because it's HMOs. Another one where the prices are high and the rents are also high. There are lots of different markets within that. There also might be areas that you're excluding because they just miss your cutoff, but actually they'd work really well. So I take a bit of a broader view, flip it and work back from what your clients are actually looking for. And if you're sourcing for yourself, what you're looking for. What are you actually trying to achieve? That way you might be able to narrow down a little bit what you're looking for, whether that's a particular property type, a particular tenant demographic, a particular bias towards yield or growth. Whatever it is, you'll have a tighter grip on what it is that you're looking for. And even though that means that you'll have a narrower range of opportunities, that's actually a good thing, because it sounds like at the moment you might have too many choices and be struggling to cut it down a bit. Once you've got to that point, there really aren't any shortcuts. Yes, you can do a lot online by looking at Rightmove and looking at properties in a given area to buy versus to rent and running some numbers and getting some ideas and some clues about what an area is like. But beyond that, you'll just have to get on the ground and do the legwork. You have to speak to everyone you can find, go and do all the viewings you can. And it's only by doing that that you'll really be able to zero in on which area is going to be the most suitable for what you're looking for. The good news is that everything that you've done in the process of doing that, like meeting agents, is exactly what you'll need to do to actually source the properties anyway. So you will actually be making progress even when it feels like you might not be. So Steve, I hope there are some pointers there that you find useful. But the main takeaway is it's not going to be easy. But as long as you expect that, you're prepared for that, and you're willing to do the work. And I'm sure once you've found your area, you'll do very well indeed.
So that's us done. 2 questions, 2 answers, and hopefully we're all going away happy. We certainly are. And we're happy that the podcast is back on Thursday with the main event, the Property Podcast. And of course, Ask Rob and Rob will be back on Tuesday. So until those 2 wonderful events occur, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.